I arrived at Mom's house for Thanksgiving dinner with homemade pumpkin pie and zero expectations. The usual cast was there. Mom, Dad, my brother Derek and his wife Amanda, my sister Claire and her husband Josh. The dining room smelled like turkey and dysfunction. Why? Finally. Mom pulled me into a hug that felt performative. We have so much to discuss. Exciting news about the family estate. I set the pie down confused. What family estate? The house, darling. The big house on Meadowbrook Lane. She smiled like she was announcing a vacation. We've been talking and we think it's time to make it a proper family home. Everyone living together, sharing expenses, building memories. The big house on Meadowbrook Lane. My house. The 6,000 square foot property I'd purchased 2 years ago with cash from my tech startup acquisition. The home I'd bought under an LLC for privacy after selling my company for $47 million. That's my house, I said slowly. Well, yes, technically it's under your name for tax purposes, Dad said, carving the turkey. But it's a family asset. Your grandfather's trust money helped you get started in business, so in a way we all contributed to your success. I'd received $5,000 from Grandpa's trust when I turned 18. I'd turned it into $47 million through 10 years of coding, building, and selling a cybersecurity platform. The house cost $3.2 million. I paid cash. My name was on the deed. Mine alone. We've already worked out the bedroom assignments, Claire said, pulling out a color-coded spreadsheet. Derek and Amanda get the master, they have kids so they need the space. Josh and I will take the guest suite on the second floor. Mom and Dad get the in-law apartment above the garage. What about Maya? Amanda asked, scrolling through her phone. Oh, Maya can keep her current apartment, Mom said breezily. She's single, no kids, doesn't need all that space. This is really about the family members who need room to grow. I sat down slowly. You're assigning bedrooms in my house. The house I bought. That I own. Don't be selfish, Maya, Derek said. Family shares. You got lucky with your little tech thing, but that doesn't mean you hoard resources while the rest of us struggle. My little tech thing had been featured in Forbes and TechCrunch. I employed 200 people before the acquisition. But Derek still called it luck. We're planning to move in after Christmas, Claire continued, ignoring my expression. That gives you 6 weeks to clear out your personal items. We'll hire movers for the furniture. Most of it will stay since we'll need it. Move-in schedules are tight, Josh added. I'm selling our condo. We close January 15th. We need to be in the Meadowbrook house by then. I'm not selling our condo until the house situation is finalized, Amanda said. What if something falls through? Nothing will fall through, Mom said firmly. This is family. Maya understands that family takes care of each other. I looked around the table. They were serious. They'd made spreadsheets. They'd planned move-in dates. They'd assigned rooms in a house they didn't own, discussing my property like it was a community asset they could claim through blood relation. I need to use the bathroom, I said, standing up. In the bathroom, I pulled out my phone and texted my lawyer. Family is trying to claim ownership of my Meadowbrook property. May need documentation ready. His response came immediately. Property deed and LLC documents are clear. Your sole owner. Let me know if you need me to send official notice. I returned to the table where the conversation had moved to renovation plans. The kitchen needs updating, Amanda was saying. Those countertops are so dated. We should go with marble. We'll need to child-proof everything, Derek added. Safety gates on the stairs, cabinet locks, the whole thing. I'm thinking we convert the library into a yoga studio, Claire said. Natural light, bamboo floors, it would be perfect. They were redecorating my house in their minds. Planning renovations I'd never approved. Making decisions about property they didn't own. What about property taxes? I asked quietly. We'll split them, Dad said. 5 ways, fair and equal. And utilities, insurance, maintenance. All shared, Mom said. That's what makes this so smart. Nobody carries the whole burden. What if I don't agree to this? I asked. The table went silent. They stared at me like I'd spoken in a foreign language. Don't agree. Derek's voice had an edge. Maya, this is family. You don't get to be selfish about this. The house has 6 bedrooms, Claire said. You're using them for what, storage? Guest rooms you never use? Meanwhile, Josh and I are crammed into a 2-bedroom apartment. We're trying to give our kids a backyard, Amanda added. Don't you care about your nieces and nephews? I care about them, I said. I don't care about being forced out of my own home. You're being dramatic, Mom said. We're not forcing you out. We're just optimizing resources. You can visit anytime. Visit. My own house. It's a family house now, Dad said firmly. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be. I finished my dinner in silence while they continued planning. Paint colors. Furniture arrangements. Holiday hosting schedules. They'd built an entire future in a house they had no legal claim to. I left early, citing work in the morning. Nobody seemed surprised or disappointed. The week after Thanksgiving, my family group chat exploded with updates. Derek. Found a contractor for the kitchen reno. Starting quotes. Claire. Looking at yoga studio flooring. Sending samples to the house next week. Amanda. Scheduled moving company for January 10th. They need access to the property to assess. Mom. Maya, we need keys made for everyone. Can you drop off your set so we can get copies? I didn't respond. Instead, I called my lawyer. Daniel, they're actually doing this. They're hiring contractors, scheduling movers, making plans to renovate. Do they have keys to the property? No. And they're not getting any. Good. Keep it that way. If they show up, that's trespassing. If they hire contractors without your authorization, that's attempted fraud. He paused. Maya, I think it's time we made your ownership explicitly clear. With documentation they can't ignore. They'll be furious. They're already planning to take your house. How much worse can it get? 2 weeks before Christmas, Derek called me directly. Maya, we need to talk about your attitude. You've been radio silent in the family chat. Mom's worried you're going to make this difficult. Make what difficult? The transition. The house situation. We're trying to include you in decisions, but you're being stubborn. Derek, I own that house. Fully. My name is on the deed. I paid for it with my money. There is no house situation to make difficult. Jesus, Maya, when did you become so selfish? Family shares. That's what we do. You got lucky with your startup. I didn't get lucky. I worked 80-hour weeks for 10 years. I built something from nothing. I earned that money and I bought that house. With money that came from family connections. Grandpa's trust. Gave me $5,000 when I was 18. I turned that into $47 million myself. The house cost $3.2 million. I paid cash. Do the math, Derek. My success has nothing to do with Grandpa's money. You're being unreasonable. Amanda's already given notice on our apartment. We need the house by January. Then you should have asked me before giving notice. Because you're not moving into my house. He hung up. 10 minutes later, Mom called. Maya Chin, I raised you better than this. Your brother has a family to think about. You're being incredibly selfish. I'm being selfish by not giving away my house? It's not about giving it away. It's about sharing. Family shares. Did you ask me if I wanted to share? Did anyone consider that I bought this house for myself? You're single, Maya. You don't need all that space. Your brother has children. Claire and Josh are trying to start a family. Your father and I are getting older. We need a place to retire. Then buy your own house. Or Derek can buy one. Or Claire. But you don't get to take mine. We're not taking anything. We're family. This is what families do. No, Mom. This is what entitled people do. I'm not giving you my house. The conversation ended badly. The group chat went silent for 3 days. Then Claire texted me privately. Maya, please reconsider. Josh already sold our condo. We close in 3 weeks. If we can't move into Meadowbrook, we have nowhere to go. I stared at the message. They'd actually done it. Sold their property. Given notice. Made concrete plans based on the assumption that my house was theirs to claim. You sold your condo without asking if you could move into my house? Mom said it was fine. She said you'd agreed to the family arrangement. I never agreed to anything. Mom decided and announced. That's not the same as agreement. So what are we supposed to do? We're homeless in 3 weeks. That's not my problem, Claire. You made a major life decision without confirming the details. That's on you. She didn't respond. But an hour later, Dad called. Your sister is in tears. She and Josh are going to be homeless because of your stubbornness. They're going to be homeless because they sold their condo without confirming they had somewhere to move. They confirmed with your mother. Mom doesn't own my house, Dad. I do. And I never agreed to any of this. Maya, please. Be reasonable. They made these decisions in good faith. Good faith would have been asking me directly. Getting my explicit agreement. Not assuming they could take my property because we share DNA. Christmas was 2 weeks away. The family chat had become a war zone of passive-aggressive messages about family values, and gratitude, and sharing blessings. I spent Christmas Eve with friends. I spent Christmas Day alone in my house. My beautiful, peaceful house that I'd earned through a decade of hard work. December 28th, Derek showed up at my door with a U-Haul truck and 3 workers. We're starting to move some things in, he said. Just getting a head start before the official move-in date. You're not moving anything in. This is my house. Maya, we don't have time for this. The movers are here. We're on a schedule. Then you wasted money on movers. Because you're not entering this property. Amanda appeared behind him holding their youngest daughter. Can you please stop being difficult? We have kids. We need stability. You should have thought about that before selling your house without securing housing. Mom said. I don't care what Mom said. She doesn't own this house. I do. Derek's face turned red. You're really going to do this? Make your family homeless? You're really going to try taking my house? The standoff lasted 10 minutes. Finally, Derek drove away with his movers, tires squealing. That evening, Mom called a family meeting. Not invited, summoned. Emergency meeting at our house. 7 p.m. Mandatory. I almost didn't go. But I was tired of fighting through text messages. I wanted to end this definitively. When I arrived, everyone was already seated in the living room like a tribunal. Mom, Dad, Derek, Amanda, Claire, Josh. All staring at me with expressions ranging from anger to disappointment. Maya, sit down, Dad said. We need to resolve this. There's nothing to resolve. I own the house. You don't get to move into it. We've consulted with a lawyer, Mom said, pulling out a folder. Family court recognizes contributions to family wealth. Since your initial capital came from family money. $5,000 from Grandpa's trust 12 years ago is not family wealth, funding my $3.2 million house purchase. Nevertheless, we have grounds to claim partial ownership. No, you don't. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. I asked my lawyer to prepare documentation. Would you like to see the property deed? The LLC formation documents? The bank records showing I paid $3.2 million cash from my personal account. The room went quiet. The house is titled solely in my name. I am the only member of the LLC that owns it. There is no family trust. No shared ownership. No legal basis for any claim you're making. I looked at each of them. You assumed you could take my property because you're my family. You didn't ask. You didn't confirm. You just decided. We're your family, Mom said weakly. Family doesn't take. Family doesn't assume. Family asks. Family respects boundaries. I stood up. You've hired contractors without authorization. You've planned renovations without permission. Derek showed up with movers to force entry. If any of you attempt to enter my property without invitation, I'll call the police. If you hire contractors or make any claims about ownership, my lawyer will respond with legal action. You'd sue your own family? Claire's voice cracked. You tried to steal my house. I'd say we're even. Derek stood up aggressively. You selfish. Careful, I said quietly. Everything you say can be used in court if this continues. I left. Behind me I heard yelling, crying accusations. I drove back to my house and changed the locks. The next morning I received an email from the county recorder's office. Someone had requested property records for my Meadowbrook address. Public records meant anyone could see them, but it told me my family was checking. The records were clear. Maya Chin, sole owner. Purchase date, purchase price, title history. No ambiguity. No shared ownership. No legal basis for their claims. By New Year's the family group chat had gone completely silent. No one spoke to me. No one texted. I'd become the villain in their narrative. The selfish daughter who wouldn't share her wealth. But I slept peacefully in my house every night. The house I'd earned. The house I'd bought. The house I owned. Derek and Amanda found a rental. More expensive than they wanted, smaller than they hoped, but available. They moved in late January. Claire and Josh moved in with his parents temporarily. Humiliating for them, but necessary since they'd sold their condo without backup plans. Mom and Dad stayed in their house, their retirement fantasy of living in a mansion dissolving. 2 months later, Claire sent a text. "I'm sorry. We were wrong. We got caught up in Mom's planning and didn't stop to think about what we were actually doing. We tried to take your house. That's theft, no matter how we justified it." I read it twice before responding. "Thank you for acknowledging that. Can we talk? Actually talk?" We met for coffee. She looked exhausted. "Mom convinced us it was fair. That family shares everything. That your success was partly due to family support." Claire stirred her coffee. "But that wasn't true, was it? You built your company yourself. You earned that money. We just wanted to benefit from your work without putting in the effort." "Yes. I'm embarrassed. We sold our condo based on assumptions. We made major life decisions without confirming facts. That's on us." She looked up. "I don't expect forgiveness. But I wanted you to know I understand now." "Does everyone understand?" "Derek's still angry. He thinks you should have been more generous. Mom and Dad feel betrayed that you didn't just go along with their plan." She paused. "But Josh and I understand. We were wrong." Over the following months, the family slowly fractured into camps. Claire and Josh rebuilt their relationship with me. Derek and Amanda stayed distant. Mom and Dad sent occasional guilt trip messages that I ignored. I hosted a small dinner party at my house, the house they tried to claim. Friends, colleagues, people who'd actually supported my journey. We laughed in the kitchen they wanted to renovate. We drank wine in the library they wanted to convert to a yoga studio. The house was mine. Legally, ethically, actually mine. 1 year later, Derek called. "Maya, I need to apologize. I was wrong. We were all wrong. You worked for that house. You earned it. We had no right to try taking it. What changed your mind?" "I tried starting my own business. Small thing, consulting. I worked my ass off for 6 months and made $30,000. He laughed bitterly. "Barely enough to cover expenses. And it made me realize, you did that for 10 years. You built something worth $47 million. And we tried to take the reward for your work because we're related to you." "Yes. I'm sorry. Genuinely sorry. Not because I want something. Just because I was wrong." "Thank you." We didn't become close. Too much damage had been done. But we were civil. Cordial. Maybe that was enough. My house remained mine. Every square foot earned through work, sacrifice, late nights and risk-taking. No one lived in it but me and invited guests. No one made decisions about it but me. No family member got keys unless I chose to give them. Some families believe shared blood means shared assets. Some people think success should be redistributed to relatives who contributed nothing. Some parents think they can claim their children's achievements as collective family property. They're all wrong. I learned the hard way that boundaries matter. That ownership means something. That family doesn't entitle anyone to your life's work. The house on Meadowbrook Lane stood as proof. Success belongs to the person who earned it, regardless of who thinks they deserve a share.